Hey there, everyone. Today we have a couple of knives, as you can tell. We have the Demko AD15, one of his customs, and we have the Cold Steel AD15, the production version of the custom, which is always cool. I like to compare, and I'll bring out some other comparisons as the video goes on. Because it's very cool to see a custom version compared to a production, just to note differences, if it's good, bad, whatnot. So we're going to mainly focus on this one. This was loaned in from my buddy John, who sent in the Strider recently. And then this one was loaned in to my other buddy Ryan, who sent in some of the Bally songs that I had done recently as well. So thank you to both of you guys for sending these in. And Ryan, this is the last one I've got of yours, so I'll get these bundled up and shipped back out to you. You may have them back before this video airs, because I'm a little bit ahead on videos, so I can film today, and this one will go up in like 3 or 4 or 5 days maybe, because I've kind of banked some videos, which has really helped, makes it really nice. So thanks everybody for sending stuff in. Always greatly appreciated. If you've got anything that you would like to send in, please send me an email down in the description below. Will be my email, and we can talk about it, because I'm kind of getting down to it now where I'm going to be looking for more stuff for people to loan in. So enough of that housekeeping stuff. Let's kind of move some stuff around here and talk about these knives. They're basically the same exact dimensions. I think the blades, I think they're basically the same dimensions, right? I didn't measure everything on the Cold Steel, but 5 1/4 inches closed and 8 1/2 plus on the overall length. These are really, they're not mirror polished blades, but they're really kind of a nice satin finish. But the studio lights here do kind of play with the reflection a little bit. So yeah. So the blade length is 3.73, how I measure from the edge of the scale to the tip of the blade. This particular one has 3.61 edge length. This steel is 3V, and what's kind of cool, well, we'll get to that. It's a 3V steel. On the production version from Cold Steel, it is S35. Okay? Blade thickness is 0.179. So they're big, thick, good size blades. So it may not be your best slicer and dicer like a Spyderco Delica or, something along those lines, but this is going to work really well for you. The weight is 7.2 ounces versus 6.5. This is all titanium. Titanium frame, titanium, what they call the yoke or the upper frame, which is the lock. It's a scorpion lock. So you pull this up and the blade, folds down. And you can see here, there is a pin in the yoke or the upper frame that drops into this notch in the blade. So it is a amazingly strong type of lock. And then as you grip, it has, an even more grip assistance, because the tighter you're holding this, the tighter that pin is in the blade, so less chance of it coming out, which is very, very similar to a frame lock. As you are holding the frame lock tighter and tighter, you are putting pressure on the lock, thus keeping it more secure. So while these are not going to fail on their own, you're just giving it some added strength as you grip it and you're using it. The overall thickness is 0.52 minus the clip, of course. And the other reason why there's a difference in weight, this is an all titanium frame. Whereas this one is a stainless steel frame with G10 scales and the titanium yoke at the top again. So that is still the titanium, but it is a G10 with stainless steel frame, where this is all titanium. And this one runs on a 2-part bushing system, Andrew calls it, with brass and Teflon. So he says, everybody wants phosphor bronze, phosphor bronze, phosphor bronze. He is of the opinion that Teflon is a much better surface for the blade to travel on. So I don't know. The jury's out on that for me personally. I am not an expert at that. I am getting used to the Scorpion lock. It is different. I have been using frame locks for so long. Every time I go to close any knife, even my Spyderco, when I pull that out, I initially go to deactivate the frame lock, and I'm like, oh crap. So this becomes intuitive the more you play with it. I don't think I'm an expert yet because it's still a little tricky on getting it to close, but I'm getting there. So a couple of the interesting things about this is a custom. What they have now is their MG line, which is a machine ground blade, and it has the G10. So the current versions of the customs are a titanium frame lock with G10 or micarta or different variants you can choose, but it's a machine ground blade. This one is all a hand ground, handmade, all titanium. And one thing that John pointed out to me that I probably would not have noticed had John not told me to look is on the blade. Let me see if you can kind of see it right here. That's the blade steel that Andrew hand ground into the blade. You can tell that's a hand ground job. See if the flashlight will help shine some light on that. So yeah, he just went in, and I don't know with what tool he used, a Dremel or whatnot, and he etched in 3V. And you can tell that is hand done, no question. The blade also is hand ground. There are some marks on it to kind of indicate some hand grinding. It also has fingerprint marks on it because, well, I've just been opening and closing it. But it's done really well. It's got this hand-finished satin that runs this way, and then the belt grinding marks that run that way. It's just a really nice looking blade, as well as the entire frame. It's different. It's unique for sure. The pocket clip works really good. It's all titanium backspacer, which is integral with and pivots with the lock. So this whole piece here kind of moves with the lock. It doesn't just hinge right here. This is solid piece. So, I mean, it's not a solid piece, it's two pieces, but it doesn't hinge here where I thought it did when I first started to handle this knife. But no, it's the whole back spacer. This is just one kind of continuous fixed piece. So very cool knife. I like it more and more as I play with it. Now in the cold steel version, basically same exact knife. I don't know if these are running on phosphor bronze or what exactly this is running on. I did not take this apart. But what's interesting is this production one is a much different feel than the custom. A lot of times you get a custom and a production, and they're very similar. This one, the blade doesn't move as quick. It is a different feel. So You know, but you're at 200-ish, 250, 2 to 250 on this one. On their MG line is in the 650s. So this one is probably more than that because it was the hand ground. So it's hard to tell. Whereas some other, you know, custom type ones, the bodegas versus the Steelcraft, and I've done a whole video on this. These, other than material, they really have a very similar action and feel to them. This one is a little thicker, but in general, the bodegas that were made in the California Custom Shop have the same very similar feel to the ones made in China by Riot Knives. So these are very similar, whereas these are very dissimilar. So it was just an interesting observation on my part that I wanted to point out. So these are made in Pennsylvania. So they are made here in the United States. And they're pretty cool. They look funny. I never really quite understood them before I had these loaned in. So I'm grateful that I have friends that are willing to loan me in knives to review. So we'll do a couple of quick size comparisons because this video has kind of drug on, and so I don't want to bore you guys too much, but I do want you to understand what the sizing is, right? And I'm sure that these ones that I am pulling out, you guys are very familiar with. So, you know, Spyderco Delica, the large Sebenza 21, and here's one I reviewed recently, the ZT0230. It was such a cool knife that I had loaned in by a guy named Jason that this is not his. This is one I bought for myself after reviewing that because I thought it was just so cool. I liked the carbon fiber and I liked the blue anodizing. So my buddy Joe was selling one used, so I scooped it up. I think that's maybe one of the first knives I reviewed that I've actually rushed out and bought one. So very cool. A couple of my other friends have seen the video on that ZT, and they also then sent me pictures, text me pictures that they bought their own as well. So that was kind of cool phenomenon to have happen. So anyway, here you go. The Andrew Demko AD15, the cold steel production version of the same Andrew Demko AD15. Thanks for watching. I greatly appreciate it so very much. Let me know in the description or in the comments down below what you think. I love the interaction. So have yourselves a fantastic day. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.